moving on. So we talked about the hero's journey, talked about how warrior energy applies to that. On Monday we talked about departure being sort of like the starting point, right? We talked about departure in a few different contexts, right? And I want to remind you guys, like, these departures happen in cycles, right? This isn't like a one-time thing. So it could be, like, if we think about the span of our lives, right? Like these big, significant departures where, we graduate high school, we leave our parents' house, we graduate college, all of those things are relevant. Also relevant to sobriety and treatment. Departure is like making the choice not to use anymore, making the choice to get into treatment, right? Starting the adventure of this process.
It's fully, should I answer it?
Sure, check in with him.
Alright, I'll let you know.
Release fully.
Am I gonna be able to get back up here? Probably that fully in?
We can.
I'll get you. I'll open the door for you. I'll just put a shirt in front of that door. You guys can come up the stairs.
Nike strength. That shit sounds expensive.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about how trauma contributes to this, right? Trauma can also be sort of like the starting point in some capacity, right? Puts you on a path to feeling distressed or, any number of negative feelings, and that can contribute to how we get into addiction. Really though, we have some understanding that this idea of departure is sort of based on the idea that every day we're going to interact with something that feels distressing or challenging, or that we may not be resourced enough to handle, right? So instead of thinking of this as kind of this whole big life scenario, bringing it down to like, how do we focus on getting through the day with purpose in a meaningful way, without feeling, shame or guilt or any of those other negative things that we experience, right? We're trying to move away from a reactive mindset, and we're trying to get to the point where we have capacity to navigate daily life struggles, again, with some kind of tool, some kind of skill, some kind of knowledge, that hopefully produces some kind of positive benefit from whatever distress we're experiencing. Okay, so through this whole process, we're going to talk about the 12 phases of healing, the 12 stages on the roadmap to healing, and the steps in each of these stages. And the reason we're going to break these down is because first I want to make sure that we kind of all understand like how this process begins, how this process, my camera broke. Sorry. Okay. Right, how this process is iterative in the sense that we're not going to tackle the whole process of recovery at one time. Good evening, sir.
Hey,
Welcome.
sorry,
What up?
I was at the bus stop since 7:40.
Okay. Here you are now.
Yeah, I made it.
You want to check in? How's it going?
I don't know, I'm kind of tired, but other than that, I'm good, I guess.
If you had to use a number, what would it be?
Probably like 6.
Alright. Okay, so again, we're going to walk through these 3 phases, or these 3 stages and steps, kind of lay out the groundwork for all the stuff that's going to come after. Okay? So phase 1 in the phases of healing from a guy named Peter Levine. Anybody know who Peter Levine is?
Yes.
Did you write Dharma Punks?
No, that is
Nola
Nola
Levine. Okay.
Great book though, and he's got some good shit on the same stuff. So Peter Levine's a psychologist. He created a therapeutic intervention called somatic experiencing. You should Google it. He's got a cool website. He's got a shit ton of stuff on YouTube. He created these 12 phases to help veterans navigate post-traumatic stress. He also found that a lot of people who are trying to navigate addiction often have similar experiences or symptoms as people who are navigating PTSD. So this first phase is kind of like the very beginning of a healing journey. So when you think about like when you first started treatment, right? Detox, getting through withdrawal, that first few days where you're kind of like getting your sober mind, right? Where you're no longer filtering your experience through whatever substance you're using, right? And there's usually some heavy shit that comes up, right? There's probably like waves of emotion that you haven't felt in a while, right? There's probably like some ruminating thoughts that haven't been present for a while, and they kind of all flood to the forefront of your mind, right?
Especially with meth, dude.
Especially with meth.
Yeah.
I mean, with lots of other stuff too, but right. So the point in this first phase is to bring some awareness to that, right? Because also in active addiction, it's really easy to dissociate, right? Especially if you have some trauma history and you're familiar with the process of like, oh my God, shit's getting hard, it's getting uncomfortable. I'm just gonna kind of phase myself out of this and then I'll come back once the bullshit's over. So we really want to focus on avoiding dissociation and denial, but also being aware of the difference, okay? So what do we know about dissociation?
Just distance yourself from it.
It's like an episode almost. Something triggers a person, and then they just blank out, or they just completely ignore its existence.
It's a type of avoidance, more of a kind of physical reaction that makes you avoid the something.
Wouldn't it be more of a
Mental.
mental, psychological
Yeah.
reaction? Because you're physically there, but you're disassociated, you're
Yeah.
detached.
Right, that's a better word for it. I guess I was just trying to say it's not necessarily something you can control.
Yeah, exactly. So it's subconscious, right? And we also want to understand that this is a survival mechanism, right? Dissociation is actually a really beneficial thing because what it does, especially if you're in the middle of a traumatic experience, is it allows your physical body and your psychological mind to not have to experience some portion of whatever the bullshit you're engaged in is.
Yeah.
Right, so it is a protective mechanism, and it's a way that our brain kind of saves our mind from having to experience whatever that bullshit is. Okay? This is different than denial. Denial is a conscious experience, right? Denial is detaching from reality with intention, right? Saying, I know that some shit happened to me, and I don't want to deal with it, right? So this is like in the moment, this is a present thing, right? This is usually afterwards, right? Where the bullshit happened and you're being confronted with some aspect of it, and instead of confronting it and embracing it, metabolizing it, processing it, you just deny that it happens because it's too painful to revisit it at that time. Okay? Again, both of them are protective. Both of them serve a function. However, they only serve a function until you get to the point where you're at a place where you can start to navigate those things, right? So if you just dissociated all the way through treatment, you probably wouldn't benefit from treatment very much, right? Because you wouldn't be present. You'd be somewhere else, right? If you denied that you have a problem and never got into treatment, you'd probably never benefit from treatment because you'd stay stuck in your active addiction.
Yeah, I've been through this so many times, so many treatment centers where just disassociated all the way through them, and then I don't realize it until after I've been through it that I fucking did it. You know?
Right.
And it's just like, why am I doing the same thing over and over, like, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And just dissociate, yeah.
So a couple antidotes to these things are responsibility and accountability.
Yeah.
Right?
This is big. I've been exploring this part of bipolar, I don't remember when I stopped taking my meds and this winter, I don't remember the month of February, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's a blur.
Yeah.
It's like, what level of accountability do I have for my behavior during that time? Like, my wife and I are trying to negotiate that right now. It's like part of my reentry. It's like, what happens if I'm in a manic episode and I'm disassociated?
Mhm.
Like, what level of accountability do I have to that state? I don't know. I don't think we have an answer either.
Yeah, and to clarify a little bit, like responsibility is your part of it. Accountability is someone else's part of it, right? So you can be responsible for what happened in February, but you really want to ask somebody else to hold you accountable to what happened in February, right? That would be what your wife contributes to that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're both important, right? You need to be aware of what you did and be able to own up to whatever happened and say, okay, that was my shit. But also there's a support element of that accountability, right? Like we just walked through with all of our goals at the beginning, right? Where it's like, you gotta have somebody who's checking in and saying, hey, like, you said you were gonna do a thing, or you said you weren't gonna do a thing, and now I'm checking in because you are doing the thing you said you wouldn't do. And if you keep doing that, it's gonna fuck up our relationship, right? So both of those are important. Okay, so that's like the beginning, right? This is like getting through detox, this is getting through withdrawal, this is like the first, 2 weeks of working on sobriety, right? As we move through that process, right, the first stage that we get to is the opportunity to establish safety and competence. Okay? Safety and competence are broad general terms, but what might you guys conceptualize safety and competence meaning in an environment like this?
Can you say that again? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
So safety is a very broad general term. Could mean a lot of different things.
Yeah.
We're going to try and look at it through the lens of the process that you're going through right now in treatment. We're going to try and think about when you see the word safety, when you conceptualize what that means to you in a treatment environment, what comes up?
I mean, avoiding unsafe
Boundaries.
situations, like, I'm not gonna go hang out with my old friends in a crack house because that would be unsafe for me and.
I don't know, I would feel more comfortable there, to be honest.
So this is kind of exactly what I'm talking about. So when you talk about safety, are you talking about like you don't want it to mess with your inner peace, or is it like I don't want to get stabbed in the throat?
No, I'm talking
What
about
kind of
Safety from you.
safety from myself being in a situation where I'm
Right,
relapsed.
even a different concept, right? So that's what I'm saying. There's lots of ways to think about this.
Yeah.
So for your safety, the thing that triggers you is thinking like, I don't want to make an unsafe choice that will impact my sober time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I feel like what's probably feels safe for most people doesn't for me.
Right. And this is another point, right, where it's like sometimes our history has been so negative in some way that actually feels normalized. I would rather be in a flop house because I'm so familiar with it that those are my people. There's nothing wrong with that. That's reality. But we also understand that if you put yourself in that environment, that is going to negatively impact your sobriety in some way.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it's just a trigger. Maybe you don't even use again, but having to navigate all of that bullshit psychologically is going to feel harmful.
Yeah, it's
Well, I was
hard.
thinking even like mental states too.
Yeah.
Like if somebody's like nice and caring to me, it feels fucking weird.
Which might be challenging given the stuff that you've talked about with your attachment and those things that, right?
Yeah.
Like you want that and you know that that's a positive thing, but you don't have any familiarity with it. So there's an uncertainty to feeling treated positively. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like trying to understand like what kind of intention they have behind it.
Yeah, if they're trying to manipulate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's really uncomfortable for me to be in my own environment, like independent, like having my own place and things like that. I think that's the worst time of my life. But being in institutions and or being on the streets are way more comfortable.
Agreed. And again, there's nothing wrong, right?
So establishing the safety here has been very difficult. It's been very difficult. I mean, for me, it's taken more than two handfuls of times to get to this point. But the safety was established when I started going against everything I felt, and just I allowed them to tell me how to, navigate living here without getting over on anybody or extorting anybody or manipulating anybody or just trying to be, or like, just big dogging anybody, so it's just, and then I know how to mind my own business, but at the same time, I'm trying to work on my skills on how to involve myself in a healthy way. So now I'm trying to involve myself in a healthy way, and it's very hard.
It is.
To not manipulate or encourage negative things or demand things.
Yeah, and you're segueing right into the next point, right? So part of what safety becomes is unlearning your previous behaviors, right? And becoming more competent as a human being,
Yeah.
right? So the skill set of being a human being is just like you're talking about. You have a lot of experience manipulating, extorting, treating people that way. You know that doesn't feel good for you or for other people. You're now in an environment where that doesn't work out, or you're trying to avoid that and develop other skills.
That part, yeah.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Yeah.
So how do we develop competence? What is the thing that we work on in treatment that allows us to start to be more competent human beings?
I mean, just like the basic routine, starting small and working our ways up, like we talked, like going to bed at the same time, having meal prep, just doing just the smallest things that you do as a human, doing them regularly over and over again, kind of builds confidence of and then you kind of keep adding in layers of what you're able to handle.
Yeah. So we start with self-care, right?
Yeah.
We move from kind of harmful or destructive patterns of behavior in our active addiction, and the first thing that starts to shift is we start to take better care of ourselves, right? Not using is the first big step, right? That's a huge physical change, right? Not putting whatever chemicals we were using in our body anymore is a huge step forward to increasing your physical health, right? But then dialing in our routines, dialing in our meal prep, dialing in our sleep schedule.
In regards to competence, though, I think you said it before, accountability and responsibility, definitely.
Absolutely.
And then also willingness.
Absolutely.
You have to have willingness.
The intention behind it.
At some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or to understand where you're at, self-awareness.
Yep.
Being self-aware, hey, I'm doing these things, and then being willing to change them,
Yeah, it's a super complex recipe, right? It's not simple shit. We're trying to make it kind of pretty linear again, so we can talk about it in an amount of time, but...
It's actually really simple. It's just these subjects are so... We just want to make them so hard because we hold on to them so hard.
The biggest thing for me with confidence has been learning how to ask for help.
Yeah.
That's been the biggest thing to stay confident in situations that are uncomfortable for me, is asking for help.
Yeah, and this goes along with things like understanding your role, right? This is why things like the sober house are so valuable, right? You put yourself in sort of a tribe environment, and you start to figure out again, how to behave in the context of interacting with other people, right? Yeah, if you guys were all big dogging each other at the house, it'd be fucking chaos.
Be gone.
Yeah, and most people wouldn't stay, exactly, right?
Yeah.
But you guys probably all have some experience of being that guy, right? But now in the house, you guys have also kind of all toned it down to the degree that you're working on this, right? Maybe you don't have it dialed in, but all understand okay, I gotta handle my shit so that my roommate doesn't freak out, and I've gotta make sure that I don't do that shit so I don't freak out. It's a process, right? And it's communication skills.
It's
right?
created culture, honestly. I've never experienced it before.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's an adventure.
Yeah.
It's
Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies,
Yeah.
for sure. Exactly. Good example.
Who's Piggy?
I was gonna say.
All right.
He's got the conch.
We already lost a couple guys.
I was gonna say,
They are
That voted off.
older shame.
Right, so now we get even more simple, right? So this is super big and broad. This is a little bit more focused. But the first step, and like you already mentioned, right, is understanding yourself. And if you get to the point where you're getting a better understanding of yourself, you can broaden that generally to understanding how the world works, right? And we all understand how the world works, right? In the sense that we know what society and culture are about. But the difference is like navigating how the world works in active use or active addiction versus navigating the world with a sober mind, right? Those are two different skill sets. Like some of us have said, like we could all go back to living on the street and you know how that system works, right? You know where to get things, you know how to meet people, et cetera, et cetera. Some of us are still struggling with like going to the grocery store on our own, right? Or feeling comfortable just going to buy groceries by ourselves and come back to the house. And that's fine. That's a skill that needs to be practiced, right? There's an element of safety there that maybe you're not familiar with. Okay? So what are some of the skills that you guys have practiced in your own lives that help you better understand yourself or the world?
Man, this one takes a lot of work. Like, I still don't feel like I understand myself very well.
Okay.
But it's a lot of reflection, right? Like, journaling has been helpful for me to try to understand myself. Talking openly to people in this room and to my partner about how I feel about the world and myself when things happen has been helpful. But, you know, I feel like this step is a lifelong step.
Yeah, for sure, but let's try and reverse program it. So when you say you don't think you understand yourself, what does that mean? Because you're also a very successful businessman, right? You have a job that pays you well, you're in a romantic relationship, you have a house.
It's not toxic.
It's not toxic. You know what I mean? Like there's some things that are going well for you
Right.
that if nothing else, you could reference those things to say, I am this kind of person because A, B, and C.
I certainly feel like I understand the world and I know how to work in the world.
Okay.
What I don't understand is how to be happy. Like, I don't understand. That's the big one. I don't understand how to be happy, how to find joy in things. What I like to do, who I am, what I care about. Those are the things that I struggle with.
How old are you?
Dun, dun, dun.
No, I feel
31.
like that's a natural,
I was gonna
like
say,
a
that's
natural
about a
feeling.
timely, that's a timely thing, for sure.
I was like, I felt very similarly after. I mean, I still do that way too at times. So I better understand that I get then, but like, I think you're in like a natural progression of adulthood, really. That's mature just to say what you did.
Exactly.
Just to say those words.
Exactly.
To know that you have the blind spots. It's like pre-contemplation
Yeah.
to knowing what you want.
And the thing is like, you're talking about trying to create emotional states, which doesn't happen. Because you've experienced happiness in the last week.
Sure.
You've experienced joy in the last week, right? Not because you did anything, but because whatever activity or event or situation you were participating in elicited those feelings. There's no such thing as creating happiness. It's a fleeting thing, just like anything else that happens. You'll do things that
I don't know, man.
debate. Your turn. Go.
I've always prided on myself of being able to, wrangle good things that put me in a good space that create a level of happiness. Like,
But how long does it last? So again, I hear you, and I'm not. It's not a semantic.
no, it's a
conversation.
very good, it's a valid point, but like, I don't know. It's funny that you said that. I remember, because I willed myself to law school through addiction, right? Like
Mhm.
and I quit shooting coke altogether, didn't use meth, got my degree, and I remember thinking like, I'm pretty happy, like I'm happy, like this is happiness. And my wife left me like a week later.
Sorry.
For a couple. No, it's funny now. Rick, still married to him. And we actually get along now. We've gone fishing together, so that's how much growth I've had. But I remember that was what I was like. I felt what you were like talking about. It's the only time I've ever felt that, where I was like, I'm in a state of happiness.
Yeah.
macro.
Right, I'm not saying that
Then it got
you
put back.
never can, it's
But
not
it's
impossible to create scenarios that produce joy and happiness. What I'm saying is like, there's this obsession in this culture with like, we should feel happy. And it's like, you do the math, like, it's one emotion out of, even if you are emotionally stunted, you have at least 10 that you navigate. And happiness is one of them, right? So why would you want to try and stay stuck in that emotional state relative to the things that you experience? Like,
Right. Life doesn't work out like that anyways.
yeah, and it doesn't make sense for everything. When my parents die, I don't want to feel joy about that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be happy. I would want to feel grief because that's related to what I'm experiencing. When joy happens, yeah, I want to experience it, but we get into this grasping idea, right? This thing of like, where can I get happiness from? It's like, when things are good.
Yeah.
And when things are shitty, you're not going to try and be happy. Why would you try to be happy when things are shitty? You need to get your shit together. You need to feel some grief. You need to feel a little bit of anger and rage that life isn't going the way you want it to, because that's the thing that motivates you to start working back up to a point when you can experience happiness again.
And you got a great skill already. Like the fact that you can be able to talk about it, that's what will bring someone out of drinking again. You know what I mean? Like that skill right there will stop you from drinking if you're able to talk about it, all the shit that's going on with you, just to whoever, just talking about it. It takes the power out of it, you know.
Right.
And I didn't learn that until like fucking 4 weeks ago, dude.
So again, to your point, like, is there things that you still need to discover about yourself? Absolutely, right? And will this be a lifelong thing? If you intend it to. I know a whole bunch of people who stopped that process in their 40s and lived to their 80s, right? Didn't ever change the way they thought, got locked into just fucking bullshit behavior and doubled down on it. My mom, like, she quit drinking for 30 years. She's 67 and just started drinking again. It was like, to what end? What's the point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She has some blind spots still that she hasn't navigated, and she's not going to. She doesn't want to. She's resistant to understanding herself at a deeper level.
Yeah.
But that's her intent. Just like all of us can make the choice to continually be curious, to continually evolve. I can't stand people who are like, I don't ever want to change. I'm good where I am. It's like, well, no, you're not.
Right.
And how boring is life going to be if you don't evolve or continue to pursue something like that as you continue to age? I'm sure we all know at least one elderly person like that. Who just got locked in. Yeah, got locked in, and they're like, "You're an asshole. You haven't thought a single new thought in 30 years." Horrible. Okay, moving on. Okay, so tools for this week. And we've talked about them because you guys are smart and we all know that those things are valuable. Some process of self-assessment and journaling, right? If you guys want, I have a couple printouts. I try to avoid fucking packets because I hate them, but they can be good tools. So if you want some, let me know. Because there's, people have put a lot of effort into figuring out questions that you can ask yourself that elicit some strong emotional and psychological responses. When you write those down, and then you're able to look back and reflect on them, they produce growth, or at least they provide opportunities for growth, right? So, what are we thinking about when we talk about self-assessment? When you assess yourself, what is the thing that you hone in on or aim for?
Where I'm at with my feelings, and also where I'm at in my head, and or why am I doing this behavior this many times against my will? Not against my will, but like this behavior that I don't want to do, why do I keep doing it?
So behavior that's not serving you,
There you go.
and you continue to repeat
It's
it
not serving me.
because why?
Because why?
Okay. And when you say where you're at with your feelings, what does that mean? Like,
Checking into how I'm feeling. Honestly, these group check-ins has made me more self-aware. With when I'm angry or when I'm hold something in contempt, or when I'm discontent. Yeah,
Does that come up a lot?
a lot more than I've noticed
okay.
before.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you recognize that, what's your reaction, or how do you respond?
It's a full dialogue in my head. You know, and that's been my focus for the past 2.5 months is that dialogue. You know, from going like, you know, like you're a fucking piece of shit. You know, to or like this fucking sucks, or why am I like this? Why am I fucking so broken? It's gone to like, okay, you're okay, you can do better, everything is okay. And then it's also going to like, how can I do this better? Or I shouldn't have done that. I could do this next time. A lot of it in the middle has been, don't talk to yourself like that, Shane. And then it's just a whole redirection. It's exhausting.
Fucking A.
It's fucking it's been exhausting, but it's worked. This book has fucking helped me.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that's a great place to start.
But yeah.
So this is the value of the stuff that we do downstairs, right? This is the reason why I program the shit the way I program it. Because you can see, and not to use you or you as examples, but you guys have navigated this, right? Relative to a month ago, the way that you respond to the cues I give you has changed 180 degrees, right? Do you not see that? Do you not feel that?
I don't.
Okay, excellent.
And I'm glad.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Oh, I feel like you're way more authoritative.
I think so too. And when I say something, you're open to receiving it, right? Even if the behavior doesn't change immediately, there's an openness. There's not a resistance to it because you're seeing the value, and hopefully it's changing the way that you communicate with yourself while we're doing shit like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? And it's fun, like you said, we don't smile through all of the workouts, right? And that's not the point. The point is to have the conversation to say, fuck, I think I'm gonna throw up. I probably should get that out of the way so I can finish the workout. Not, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up, I'm gonna die, I have to quit. Because that's been part of the story, right? So, these things that we do down here, yeah, it's great to have a good workout, but it gives us a template, right? It provides us an opportunity to practice these things in a very low consequence environment. I don't give a shit if you can't hold a plank for a minute. I truly do not. I do give a shit if you tell yourself that you're unable to do it and you quit. Because that's a different thing. If you don't have the physical ability, we can encourage you, we can work you out, you can increase your physical ability. If you don't put the work in to shift the way that you communicate with yourself about navigating that in a proactive way, that would be something that changes how you live your life.
Yeah, it's completely changed my whole perception of reality in like 2 months.
Yeah.
But it's exhausting, dude. Like, just noticing how much negativity I'm thinking all the time was exhausting to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, and then figuring out what to fucking redirect it with. You know, like, oh, I'm fucking stupid, or like.
Phil, I'll just, be honest with you. Where you are, I've been there. I feel like I've been here for a few years, but like, you can't relapse. You know why? Because it's fucking miserable. Like, the mental anguish of the relapse is so bad after I feel like you get to this state within recovery where you are self-perceptive and you kind of have that self-awareness. The relapses are worse. They're just so much worse. They're like, you just want to kill yourself.
And every time that happens, then the conversation has to change again. Every time that happens, you provide yourself another opportunity to evolve on another level, right? Because it's not like you go up here and you're sober and then you fail when you relapse, right? It's like you go here and then you go here and then you relapse a little bit and then you're like, fuck, I gotta get that back together. And now you're up here and then you relapse and then you gotta, right? It's not like this. I hate the idea of relapse as a failure. I hate it because it's not what happens, right? It's a sign that the things that have been working are working, and now there's another part that needs to be addressed that you haven't addressed yet.
Yeah, dude, it's been miserable.
Yeah, of course it's miserable. And that's the reality of it. And why would you want to change that? Because if it was easy...
Well, because, I was hoping, like, it'd be something less traumatic, like...
Yeah, we
I've
all
got
hope
a problem
that.
with women or shopping,
For sure.
you know?
And again,
Most of those aren't fun. Shopping list.
Yeah. But I want to ask you this though, like I feel like I don't know how yet, but like I feel like we don't. I think we just regress back into our normal patterns in our self-talk.
Sometimes.
You know.
But what's your question?
Is that normally the case?
What's normal?
I mean,
And I'm not.
I don't.
I guess there's.
I just think that our perception of recovery is really skewed by a few arenas that show one type. I think you're right. I think people relapse a lot more than we talk about, and don't fall off the wagon completely and like go back to their ways. I think a lot of people relapse and do get better. We just don't hear from a lot of those. A lot of them just go on and live their life. A lot of people get clean without help. Like people don't realize that, not, you know. And like there's just it's not uniform, you know. And I don't know. I think you are right. Like most of us, most people that want to get clean and are working through this do ascend to different levels with each relapse. Like
Yeah.
I know that I have. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna never stop taking my meds. That's like something I won't do.
So I don't need to deflect your question, right? What I mean to say is that it's very subjective. So,
Yeah.
so when you say normal, what I think you mean is like your previous experience. You have a lot of years having that negative internal dialogue. So
Yeah.
for you that feels normal, right?
Well, I've done this before where I've gotten into like a better headspace in my mind and like not take victim or not like think that everyone's out to get me, you know, and it like I feel like I've gotten better and then I fucking go get high and it just comes right back, you know what I mean? And then, you know, and if not worse, it's got, you know, and then sometimes I forget that I've even gotten to that point, you know, of a better headspace.
And that's reasonable.
Sometimes though, that like, you know, when I had a relapse, my self-worth went down quickly and hard, but it helped me get right back to recovery. Like it wasn't necessarily a bad thing that I was like, had a really low self-worth when that happened, because it's what drove me to come back here the next day and be like, I'm gonna get better, because I remember how good it was when my self-worth was trying to improve and my mental talk was trying to improve. So having that, you know, we talked about how happiness and sadness, they're all emotions that you feel. So when you relapse and you beat the shit out of yourself, you know, there's an opportunity to use that to not get into that situation again.
Yeah. I mean, as we talk through all of this, I just think like it shows you how important your tribe is, right? Like kind of as one of the pillars to each one of these.
Yep.
You need good people that can see when you're struggling, when you can't, and can tell you what you need to do when you need to hear it.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, listen to the way that you have changed the internal dialogue. Listen to the way that your self-awareness has improved, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you haven't done any work. It's not like you haven't made great strides from where you were, right? It's just also that there's still work to do.
Definitely. It's not that it's gone, it's just that it's just considerably less. And it's easier for me to, now the most important part is it's way easier for me now to notice it and redirect it into something positive than it has been. And that's probably the most awesome part, I feel like, because now I can just fucking think like, oh, here's the thought. It's all good, don't worry about it. You can do, like, you're awesome, you're like, you know, like it's okay, dude, like, you know, you're not alone. You know, I just tell myself that all the time, I'm not alone. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
And it's fucking
You're segueing right into our finishing point. And you're on like 3 for 3 today.
yeah. I mean, it's a good topic. We
It
don't
is.
have this in the morning groups.
Alright, so focus for the week, right? From now until next Wednesday, your job is to chronicle. And I do mean chronicle. I want written evidence, notes on your phone, put it in your journal. There needs to be some time when you bring awareness to your internal dialogue, when it's shitty, when you're navigating something that feels challenging and you feel under-resourced, where your self-worth is low, and you bring awareness to that, and then just sit with it. I don't even want you to try to change it, right? Because what happens is it gets connected to an emotional state. It gets connected to certain thoughts, right? And then it becomes this snowball of things. And if we go with that momentum, shit can get hairy, right? Or we can practice just being with it, understanding that that's part of being a human being, understanding that in some amount of time, that will change. And it could be effortfully, but it also could be just putting yourself in a different scenario when those thoughts don't make sense, given your experience. You guys understand? Next Wednesday.
I usually act on them if I sit with them.
Great, good for you.
Well, I don't think that always is great. Like,
Yeah, but listen to what you're doing.
well, like
You've
some
already
chick
brought-
like was coming in the bus this afternoon when I was obviously getting off, and then she looked at me fucking crazy because I just was like, in my mind, I'm like, bitch, if you want to be in the way, I'm gonna be in your way. And she's looking at me all crazy, and like as I was stepping out of the bus, I was like, get the fuck out of the way, bitch.
So what's a way you could have navigated that differently?
Not acting on it, I guess. But you just said to act on it.
No, I didn't say to act on it.
Oh.
I said to sit with it. You could have just stayed there and you could have waited until either she moved out of the way or she changed the situation or you did something different. You didn't have to do what you did. And I'm not saying that what you did is wrong. I'm saying if you had paused, if you had given yourself a moment to be like, oh, we're both in each other's way, you could have done any number of different things, right?
I mean, yeah, it's just common courtesy though. Like, if I'm coming on the bus and I know somebody coming off, like, I get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, so listen, so this is your opportunity, right? So if you sat with that experience and you wrote about it, there would be some things that come up and you would have an idea about how you feel about common courtesy. You would be able to have a discussion with us about what you think is right and wrong about who comes and goes off the bus. You would have some dialogue about how you speak to women. You would have some dialogue about what you think about your place in the world and why you should have gotten off first. There's a whole 1,000 conversations that we could have after you take time to reflect on that.
So just to clarify, notice the dialogue, just sit in it, and then write it down, reflect it,
Yep.
and then report back.
Yep.
Write down like what thoughts went in our head.
Yeah.
Ideally. We have to have some context, right? This doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? These things come up in situations where we have the opportunity to do things differently, and then we could act on those things. But right now, I just want you to understand or be aware of when they come up.
What, like every little one? Because a lot of them are my fucking roommates.
So write that down. And again,
Well, you're looking at me.
I was gonna say, like, we're here in the room, like, but
Well,
no.
I'm smiling because I feel like you can relate.
I can relate
Yeah,
to
for
that.
sure. And again, it's not. This isn't like some kind of perfect thing, and I'm not grading you guys on it.
Or
I'm
are we
saying,
like bringing that up with them? Or
yes, yeah, any of that. Again, there's no
it's
right or
usually
wrong
just
way.
annoying ass little shit.
Yeah. So maybe one of those would provide some insight, right? But if you did that to every single annoyance that happened, that'd be over the top.
We'll
right?
see you both when you're done next week.
If you come in with 6 pages,
Yeah,
then,
it's, I
then
mean,
we'll-
it's just little same shit. Like, oh, you're still watching TV 6 hours later.
All right, gentlemen, we're done for tonight. Thank you for your effort. Good to see you all.
Oh yeah, Nevin said he updated you. I'm
Yeah,
gonna call him tomorrow and set it up for you.
Yeah, I'm giving it 2 thumbs up.
Oh, sweet.
If you can figure it out, we chatted about it today, and
Cool.
like you and I talked about the other day, like, I've had good experience with it. I'm super proud of the guys who make great strides, so
Awesome.
he's gonna, I think his concern, his concern is understanding like how to navigate the process here, and when you're gonna be done.
So what, he doesn't know what's the vibe you got? Like he wants me to be like almost out here before I do it?
That's, well, I mean, that was kind of the idea, is that it would be sort of like a grand finale kind of thing. But again, check it in, and if you need to navigate that in some other way, let me know.
I'd love to do it on my birthday.
Speed ride?
Yeah. Just because I know the mood for that would be amazing on my birthday.
Good. And again, check in with him, and I don't know, depending on where you're doing it too, like, some people place that I didn't move in, they had us do 6 weeks of intention setting. So depending on where you go, there might be a whole lot of time that you need to spend having conversations with the facilitator before that happens.
Yeah.
So I don't know where you're.
I don't think it's that in depth.
They
They do like 1 to 2 sessions, about an hour and a half each.
Yep, so again, if you can get in contact with that facilitator and make that happen before your birthday, then again, I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. But
I mean, she said, I just told her, I guess I can talk to Evan and see if he's okay with me doing it. And then, because I already did the consultation with her, and she said, I told her I'd let her know once I heard back from Evan, but she's like, you can do it on the 22nd or 21st. Just let me know. She said we have like a 2-hour
they usually do.
session.
Because the intention setting and the direction and the trajectory that you aim for going into that is super important.
Alright, yeah, I'll call Evan tomorrow. He said to hit him up after 1, and then I guess I can just figure out if he totally approves me doing it that soon, or like you're cool with me doing it that soon, so he is, or what?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned,
I'd rather do it, because I think it would be a really good spot to do it, because I know how powerful the setting in your mood can be to launch it off. There's not many more days out of the year that I'm probably just innately a little bit above water than my birthday.
that's my part, and I would say that too.
As opposed to, I mean, yeah, I can still psych myself up about it in August, but there's nothing special going on. And so it's
This
just,
is the new plan going into it is 90%. I mean, the psilocybin is definitely part of it, but the way that you set up your psychological and emotional health going into that will be the thing that allows you to benefit the most from it.
alright, so just all right, I'll go over tomorrow. Cool, alright, thanks.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
Yeah.